YouTube to wake up. Oh boy, here we go. Good morning, Jake.
Good morning, Kurt. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Making Turbo Pit Fighter, a post-apocalyptic sci-fi comic. And Kurt, what have you got there? You got the Ken Landgraf pages printed out?
Dude, I've had sleepless nights, Jake. Sleepless nights.
What's the matter, big guy?
Oh man, these are amazing pages. I just can't wait to get them to print.
Okay.
The layout. I mean, you have to understand, Jake. This is the first time I'm actually seeing the lettering on the pages. As much as you allow us into your studio and onto your decrepit white laptop, and you try to focus the camera on the screen, it's just in no comparison, especially with the flourishes. The little areas like it's seamless. I mean, it just you really worked with what Ken threw down, and it's 10 times more exciting. Just like I said, I can't. I mean, this was it's great. I mean, the way we I suggested that you knock these down, and you got the speed lines, dude. I am just.
So, what are you looking at there? Is that so? I gave you printouts of just the word balloons in position on the pages, and did you superimpose them on a layer?
No, you gave me these first, and then I asked you for the word balloons, which I have here. I'm gonna, yeah. You sent this.
So this is just like dummy copy.
Yeah, this is just your copy. This is what you sent, and it gives me an idea of where things are laid out. Because the way I do it is, okay, technically speaking, so everybody's on the same page. Ken Landgraf did 11 by 17 original art. I scanned it at 400 DPI, sent those pages to you. You then do a reduced JPEG, basically at an 8.5 by 11, drop that in as placement art in the Quark, and then start laying out the lettering. Now, your output to me was 300 DPI, 8.5 by 11, but the art is within still the shrinking size of whatever 17 comes down to 11 and whatever comes in. Like it's like 7.25, the actual art. I work at 13 by 19. That's what gives me the best handle on especially lettering. So then I took these word balloons as they floated from pages 1 and 2, and then had them in 11 by 17 doc, then blew that doc up to 13 by 19, put it on a 10% opacity. Actually, you can see this first. So this is the 13 by 19 pages 1 and 2 that I just printed out so I could have on the side to make sure my spelling is all good and cool. And then very lightly, you can see this is a 10% opacity printed out, so I can then just hand letter right over the top of it. So, which is what I'm going to be doing today.
Right. So you're doing the lettering, and we are doing for anybody that's confused. We are doing the extra step of putting in computer lettering using a font, and then Kurt is going over it by hand to make it a hand lettered font. And some people say we're nuts for doing that. We should just print with computer font. It looks okay.
No, it doesn't.
Most comics just go with that. Most, even high-level comics and everything.
Cheap on the fly. It's cheap on the fly.
Indie comics are very notorious, for using comic fonts. And there's better fonts. Whiz-Bang was around for decades, and now you have, a variety of different ones. You could also design your own font, which I wanted to do. I thought we were going to streamline our process when I designed my own font.
Yes, you did talk about that at length. So I thought you actually had something.
Well,
it was the episode after we lettered pages 12 through 18, and I introduced you to what the hell's the program called? I can see it. It's like a purple logo, Scripter or something like that. Anyhow, and you start playing around with it, and then an episode or two down the road, you're like, yeah, the free version just gives you all the, 1, 2, 3s, ABCs, lowercase, uppercase, dash, that kind of thing. But they don't give you anything in variation to A's and B's and stuff. But you said you were going to leap into it.
Yeah. I think I would still like to do that, and I guess.
All right, get to work.
We forgot all about it, but because if we make alternate characters, and we have 5 A's, 2 B's, 3 C's, like 4 different T's, then you could just hit the Option key and just type, and then hit print at the end, so we can save a step. In other words, I'll be able to generate it out of Quark, and then you just take it from that step, and we can skip that. So we should set this up so that the very next thing we do is like that, because it'll save us some misery.
Yeah, I'm still fine with me dropping in my hand lettering. I don't find anything wrong with it per se. It is absolutely going twice over the lettering process, because you set everything up in exactly the way you want it to be on the page, which is kind of like templating yourself. I'm then taking that, I'm taking these, because you squish things in and, letting, and then, you really put in, the lettering effort, which, at this point, yeah, we could go to the printer. But for me, being one half of the, the vote here, I really do feel the consistency of having your lettering hand made, as closer as if not hand lettered. It sets in with the art. I just prefer it.
Yeah.
So
that's fine. When I got your art back, when I got your letters back, though, I had to fix a whole bunch of characters,
which is going to happen again. But what I had suggested prior to you going into this is just let me do the laying out of the lettering, do the hand lettering, keep the bubbles, the balloons, and the lettering separate. So you would have 2 layers, actually more than 2 layers. You'd have twice of the amount of bubbles and letters, lettering on a PDF file. And then you would be able to go into that file and then basically tweak separately the bubbles and then the lettering. You could then do the letting and, grab a better R that I've drawn, or, to that kind of thing. That could be an option for the next thing, because it will hold my hand lettering consistency. If we move to your hand lettering font, then the hand lettering is going to look different.
Well, I think if we get a hand lettering font, I'll base it on your hand lettering. It'll just
you'll copy my my stuff.
Yeah, well, we'll make sure that we're happy with all the characters, and we'll have plenty of alternate characters. And then at any point we could always alter it. Like, if you want to make something bolder, you just select it and use the transform tool to make it bolder or whatever. But the thing about when we're laying out the lettering is, like, I'm actually changing the words up to the last minute, up to the last second. So that's why we do it together, but it has to be, I think, done like that, because what it says is not in stone until the very, very last opportunity. And that's not just fitting things in, it's also changing our minds and thinking about it, because we had a lot of language that we decided against when we first started scripting this a long time ago.
That's true. That's
Yeah.
true. Yeah, you know, and doesn't that kind of fall synonymous with the Marvel method? Like you can't just unless you're doing the EC method where they actually hand you the boards with the lettering already on there and the big white open blocks which you then
God,
in
yeah.
with art. I would definitely quit if you forced me. But you know, it is the Marvel method to sort of have a very loose to broad script, page count, page hits, beats, pages come back, which are your pencils anyways too. So you're still thinking and morphing the storyline as it goes. And then once you get my inks, you know, it gives us one layer of like edit there, and then the lettering gives us. I mean, you have to admit our story is tight. Like there's nothing really.
I mean,
You've not complained about anything yet. Like when you read, how many times a week do we actually end up flipping through this, especially on an indie creator exchange, and you get to sit there while they're talking, and you're like, damn, I love that line. You know what I mean? Like, I love Whoppy Whoppy. I just, you know
what?
I mean?
What?
Whoppy,
yeah.
Whoppy.
Yeah, so our dialogue is pretty much set, but so that's not the Marvel method, but we change it when we get the final art done. We change it based on, okay, we need to have a little more room, we have a little less room. We change it based on, let's refer to something that happens later in the timeline now that we're, now that we've expanded the whole world, or earlier in the timeline, and we go back and forth like that now, right? We're starting to put in references to things that like if we say, like, we mentioned the sentience now, that wasn't in the original plan, so we can do all that kind of stuff now because until it goes off to the printer, you can still keep changing stuff, and that's what
we're getting
doing.
love. We're getting love and support from YouTube's chat right now. King Megatrip has said, "Welcome back to another episode of Lettering Turbo Bitblader," and I replied, "Episode 7 of 12."
Right. So I'm glad that Matt is around, because I wanted to show you something, and it might launch us into a discussion. I'll show you in a second, but before I do, I just finished up this sketch of baby Esoterra being discovered by Dr. Madeline Terra, and I could scan it to you and send it to you. Does that make sense for me? What I should be doing right now? You're also going to be we're going to be running the little characters from the End of the World Index, right? And
yes.
they all need to have a little blurb with them. So one thing we have to do is we have to figure out how many pages, we're gonna need to work on. And
Well, that's what you're supposed to be doing today. You had said at the end of last episode, or maybe it was off camera, where you were just going to plot out like 6, 8, maybe even 10 pages, double page spreads, which would be based on, you had said this, you have often said this, is that this is the focal point. Like these bullet points for the End of the World timeline, these would get expanded double page spreads in Doom Mag's #1.
Right, with pictures and
with the pictures,
maybe like 3 pictures a page or 2 pictures a page, and then flesh each one out, all those bullet points out, right? Yeah, we need to know how many pages overall that's going to be. So that puts us in a tough spot, because we don't have a final page count, being that Alex Turbin was going to try to turn in an 11 pager, but it looks like our deadline's going to come quicker than he's going to be able to finish all 11
he
pages,
says he's
right?
he says he's rocking on him. I talked to him last week. He's rocking forward. I basically gave him the lowdown on what we're going after, which is an end of this month deadline. So everything's got to be locked in by the 31st. Halloween.
Of Hollow. Okay, so yeah, I mean, I could definitely start out on a page per bullet point. So maybe the thing to do is start there. I'll bring up the Quark file of those two of that spread, and then start looking at the bullet points, expanding it. We can see what we got as far as writing. I have a lot of writing for each one of those subcategories now. And pictures, we could either make them or find them and then scan them and get them to you. So I think we're just kind of like triaging. But I finished this one. This is a full page drawing, and we'll have to shoot this down.
Can you
And
focus it and get
yeah,
it centered? Can you
there's
center it?
there, there's some dead areas
Oh,
here.
I remember this one. Yeah, I remember this
Yeah,
one.
there's some dead areas here, so we could actually put like some writing on the illustration too.
Oh, cool.
That could be another way to get things flowing. Um, all right, so you ready, Kurt? I wake up this
Uh-oh.
morning, and maybe you've heard this, maybe you haven't. But I wake up this morning, I'm started looking at my Twitter feed, and people are complaining about this app called Sora because Sam Altman of ChatGPT fame launched this app called Sora, and it's just imagine it's Instagram, right?
I'm
But
aware. I'm aware of it.
oh,
You
okay,
don't have
well,
to. You don't
I'm
have
just
to. I'm very aware
I'm
of it.
explaining it like a 5-year-old because I'm behind the curve, and maybe somebody else listening is behind the curve. But um, Sora is an app. I guess it's recently launched,
Yeah, yeah.
and it's kind of like Instagram, except instead of pictures, you have little AI videos
Well, they're
or
going after
animation.
TikTok. They're going after TikTok directly. It's
Right,
just because just TikTok is just all about creating content in the feed. Instagram is actually landing pages and then
right.
trying to navigate people to your brand, if you will. TikTok's
All right.
purely for
So
entertainment. Just doom scrolling entertainment is all it is.
right. But right, so this is some tools to actually create content because when you hit the plus sign, you put in a prompt and then it creates a video. Now this morning, all the people that were complaining about it are upset that the app is using licensed characters or IP that belong to other people, using it as learning models and then giving new content based on that without compensation or acknowledgement or notification and all that. So that's all the context. But I went in. So I went in. I downloaded the app, and I'm just exploring this. And I said, all right. I said, create me an animation based on ElfQuest. Make ElfQuest into like an all-girl punk band. So it gave me a thing and said we cannot do that because those are licensed characters. And I'm like, huh, okay. Then I put in this. You see here, this is the cover of the last Turbo teaser, and I said, make a video of Turbo Pit Fighter fighting in the ring. So here's what it made. Watch.
Pretty crazy, huh? You like it?
I mean, it's interesting to see,
That's pretty.
a live action.
How long did it take to generate that?
Right, so you get this progress circle, and it takes a long time. And
Yeah.
just so everybody knows, every time you're sitting in your couch and you're pressing these buttons, you're causing like diesel fuel, to be like used and burned and generated somewhere in like Idaho, next to a lake, and it really is energy intensive. I'm not kidding around. I mean, and we don't think about it. We're just using this, but AI is a $500 billion industry now. As far as like investment and everything, just to be able to make silly little videos like this. Like I don't make any money on that. Maybe we use this for something, but um, it's really just experimenting right now, and putting funny TikToks on. Like somebody wants to comment about Trump, or somebody wants to make their friend into like a little troll or something. So um, this is all I really got to do. But I did this one also. Watch this. That's weird. So I gave it this. Can you pause it? Yeah, I gave it the starting picture, and it did all the rest, and it followed the coloring style that I had, but I only used this little square. I'm gonna try to freeze it at the right point, right now. Okay, so basically, this is what I gave it, right? Which is
Can
I
you
could have
pull?
given it.
Can you pull your screen? Pull it into the set. There you
Yeah.
go. There you go.
So you know that this is a full cover, but on my Instagram, I just have this little clip of it, like a little close up. So I just gave that. I could have given the full cover, um, but I just gave this, and I was like, show Turbo, like fighting her opponents in the ring. So it took the thing, it expanded it, and it made not animation, but it made these like kind of like stills. This is kind of like cheap animation. That one leg was really weird, but yeah. So I don't know why somebody wouldn't just sit there in their house and do this like 50 times, string it all together, make that a cartoon, put it out, and like this is my character, so we you could very easily do it, and it's just an incredible time saver, an incredible shortcut, but it's AI content, which is like, all right, you're seeing it all done, but it's maybe not what I would have done. Um, right now, I'm going to press the last button, and this is a modification. So I haven't seen this myself, so you're going to be looking at it for the first time with me. I told it to take this one and modify it, and I think I said make her like slightly more muscly and make her fighting like a human instead of a robot. And let's see what it did. Ready? Here we go. Adventure time.
Get the camera set. Get it centered. Get your shit centered.
So that was
You gotta, you gotta admit that is just stupid amazing.
well, it's a different style. So I asked her to do bare arms because the first one it looked like she had like burgundy sleeves. I asked to make her a little more muscly, and so they made her maybe like a little more defined. I don't know, but not like matte. Not
Can you
not.
download? Can you download that?
Yes, you can download these. Yeah,
Okay.
and it's funny the animation. I mean, this is basically paper animation. Where they have like an arm segment, a leg segment. The stomach, and then it just moves left to right, like as if it was old fashioned paper cut animation, right?
Yeah.
Now she's a little more advanced, but you see how, and I said spiked ankle length boots. Then they gave these kind of like above the shin spiked boots, whatever. But um, yeah, these are all fun clips. I mean, I think if we did use this, we could pull somebody into like an Instagram post or whatever, or anyway, it's so funny because I edited the first one and it went to a completely different style. So I don't know what's going on with this app, but
It's learning. It's learning. That's why the
yeah,
app is. That's
it's
why the
learning.
app is existing. It doesn't have enough data yet. That's what all the big tech heads are saying. So the way that OpenAI is saving its investors' asses and assets is that it basically came up with something which is the most popular thing to do in the United States and world, which is to sit for 5 hours a day on TikTok, doom scrolling. Now you're going to spend 8 hours a day, if not 12 hours a day, prompting. And every time you prompt, you're teaching the system what it requires in order for it to improve on the generative LLM and everything. I mean, it's still, Casey Neistat. I don't know if you ever watch any of his stuff on YouTube. He did a really good breakdown, not only of Sora, but a couple of days ago he did the competing Mac and Mac and Meta's glasses. And he does them really quick, concise, just a bit of humor in there. But there's definitely a deep, deep feeling for a creative out there of just feeling lost, like completely feeling, well, dread's one thing. The feeling I ended up having for a while last night, just resting with it, was I'm outside of all of that. Like, I don't want to do digitally driven content. I am more than happy to use digitally driven apps to help me procure the references and the materials that I need to make my art. Definitely faster. That's always an optimal thing. Clearer, cleaner, all that. But the deep-seated sense of like obsoletism, oh wow, now everybody's not going to want to see a picture. A drawing and a bunch of drawings in a floppy comic book. They're not going to have the time. But I just finished editing Ian Cinco's interview we did last Sunday, and the Future of Comics episode, a segment of that episode, was really wild because he dove right into the original art mechanism of being the future of comics, and even said, hey, this is going to be one of the driving forces because all these people out there are going to be starving for the most part, so the ones that really do get hungry, they're going to want to go somewhere. And a comic book convention is obviously one of the things you go to for MCU, DCU movies and second and third string actors, signatures and photo ops. But I by the time I was going to bed, I was again, and this morning finishing the edit, even more charged up. There is just nothing that's going to replace the analog feeling that this holds. And now this thing is going to be Ken Landgraf based art, Jake Jacobs embellishment, and then my own handwritten text over the top of it. That's what keeps me up at night now, is being so excited to get this thing done and to have it out there in the wild. I'm really excited for us.
So there's, I think you went for a couple of topics there. The AI, it's changing the way people think. I can see an artist saying, wow, I could really use this. Now I don't need an assistant. I could also see a non-artist saying, oh, I can do stuff now that an artist, I don't need an artist. And it's all just going to be, the skill of the prompt and the randomness of what the AI gives you. Anytime you hit the submit button, and however it's working, it's models and it's generation. I mean, I think you get what you get, and a lot of non-artists are just going to go with it. As far as artists though, I mean, I see this and I'm like, wow, this is what I've been waiting for. We can actually do something just like two guys, and limited resources, we're just doing keyframes, but we can now, make some animated sequences, which we have been talking about for a long time, but there's never enough time to do it. So I do totally see the usefulness of this, but I'm also very keen. Like some people are just out and out boycotting the entire platform, because they don't like the rights holders, any the lack of you know rights or compensation for right holders and everything. So I'm gonna do a little bit more, uh, diving into that and see. But if I spend a half a day, on this app, I could come up with a 20-minute little sequences that I could then stitch together into a 20-minute or 15-minute episode, or promotional interstitial, let's call it. And uh really, really powerful stuff. um I keep saying, like, one day there's going to be a machine that you drop a comic book into, and then on the other end it just spits out a full cartoon, half an hour cartoon. um it's basically what's happening, right?
I agree up to a point. I think the biggest uh, aspect of the topic that is not discussed further and deeper, other than if you do go towards people who have equal shares in a creative history and a technological history, prompting, one sentence prompting is not equal to what you specifically have done just with Turbo Pit Fighter. It's not the same thing.
Yeah, well, there was a
You
one sentence prompt. Well, before you go down the wrong avenue, there was a one sentence prompt, but I also uploaded the photo. So
and that's what and that was the second part that I was going to say, is that you also can support it with your own visuals by hand, your hand on a piece of paper, scan it or shoot it with your phone and then put it in there. That is what is going to always be the greatest distance between somebody sitting on their couch all day and night trying to come up with the next Aeon Flux / Adventure Times comic or Family Guy or whatever, right? To what you and I do. It's just this is not a bridge, is my point. It's not a bridge. It's not.
right. Well, the way the mind, like, pictures things is never going to be what the computer gives you. But for a lot of people, it it fills it does the work for you. It
It's
fills it.
enough.
Yeah, it fills it.
It's enough. Which is going to be, so they say the race to the bottom is always fastest when you cut corners. All this does is cut everything out down to the arbitration of the arbitrary fancy of a machine. That's all it is. It's a parlor trick. And that's the other half of what is going to be really interesting, because there are generations, I should say, that grew up day one with technology in their hand and creativity passing through it. We've aged out. We're stuck in our analog, drawing on pieces of paper, scanning on them, spending 3 months lettering a comic book every Sunday. This is stuff that's not aligned with anybody probably under the age of like 35. So the content being generated on Sora and TikTok has nothing to do with me. Like, it's never called to me. And most of the people that are non-artists that I'm connected with, family members specifically, I'll ask, like, oh, when's the last time you were on TikTok? I haven't been on TikTok forever. It's dumb. It's dumb. It's repetitive. It's just dumb. Like, okay, well, sometimes I go on just because I like the dumb repetitiveness. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Oh, yeah. But I don't see it as a threat. I see it as the opposite. I see it as like a fertile ground that's just going to, create opportunities. But the only thing that's going to rise is a true talent. And talent is not born. Talent is made. it's getting in every day, doing the work and writing one sentence prompts over and over again and trying to da, 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 and then downloading and stealing other people's images, which is probably what the topic is got so many other people out there paranoid from the beginning. Is now I can go to DeviantArt, look for somebody's account that's dilapidated by years, which I have like 6 of them up there. So there's plenty of art up there that you can download, and then you just drop them in there with your one sentence prompt, and you start making this great content, which the whole world will see and
Right.
love and reward
But
you.
you're talking about plagiarism. Yeah,
No.
right. I didn't think about that, but you're talking about plagiarism, theft. I'm sure the Russians are going to do it, and and everything. But I wasn't thinking about it that way. We all think of it like, oh, what can I make with this? Rather than, oh no, what are people going to, how are people going to be abusing this, right? So yeah, true that.
The other part of it is going to be that this is supposedly going to shift everybody out of the established social media platforms and into this platform. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but it's supposed to be the saving grace for OpenAI to keep funding coming in, the investors happy, and advancing the technology, which it's plateaued. It's been plateaued for, they say, almost a year now.
Right. Well, what Sora is it's a place to create content, and it's a place to share exactly that type of created content, which is AI animation and videos. But I think the average TikTok creator is going to want to go there once in a while, create something, and then bring that back over to TikTok. And so, the interrelatability of all of these big apps, it's literally the clash of the titans, right? It's like, you know, I just heard this podcast this past week that Mark Zuckerberg of Facebook, when he first started his company, created this whatever you call it, a program or a routine, or a formula, such that back then everybody was on the what was the MySpace, right? When Facebook was first getting off the ground, MySpace was huge, and it was bought by Rupert Murdoch. And Mark Zuckerberg made this button that all you got to do is press one button, and then all your MySpace info and all your contacts and all your friends automatically go right into Facebook, and it populates everything. So everything's there, your new home, plus all these new features and all these great, versatility and utilization. But if somebody now writes a program that will take your Facebook contents and port it to their new app.
Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? You don't think it's already been done? They're just waiting for
No, you will,
the legal department at OpenAI say, well, you got to be careful because of this, and you got to be careful because of that. You can't grab their stuff in perpetuity. Blah 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 blah. They'll figure it out and it'll be done.
Right. So the podcast I was listening to was Cory Doctorow, who has this new. He has a Substack or whatever, but he has this new book out called The Inshitification of Everything. And the point was exactly what Mark Zuckerberg did to MySpace, which is just completely cannibalize everything to move the people up. If somebody would try to do that now with his ATI kit or whatever, he will sue them 9 ways to Sunday, just like you're saying, and it will never go. And he will also, like, acquire their competitors, drive you into the ground, make a fool of you, humiliate you, and bankrupt you and your house and everything. So it's just so hypocritical, that now that he's on top of the mountain, that exactly what he did, he would never allow for somebody else to do. And I think the point of the podcast was that these apps, all these social media apps, are getting way out of control now with invasive ads, invasive data mining, invasive rent seeking, and all of the stuff that like they don't even care if it's lowering the experience, ruining the experience, unless you're a certain age. Then they want to get their hooks in as deep as possible. But once you're the age where you're, where you have a wallet and a bank account and money and subscriptions and everything, then they say, no, if you want to see this, now you got to press this, or now you got to join this, or now you got to sign up to this or subscribe. And it's a funny thing. The student discounts, for things like Spotify, for things like Apple, iTunes, whatever, they all go away once you're out of school. And now you're in the real world, and they've gotten you hooked on all this stuff. Your mind is addled, and now they're going to start the economic slavery.
That's exactly what happened to us in the mid 70s with comic books. It's exactly the same thing, man. It is. It is. The reason I stopped reading comic books was because they started breaking all the stories up across all of their titles, Marvel specifically, because I didn't really want to read it. Well, no, I was a Teen Titan mark for a while, just because of George Perez. I mean, George Perez art as a kid, you're completely mesmerized by it. His stuff. It still are, but I think it was the X-Men that really fucked the pooch on that whole especially getting older, because I have a car, I'm chasing girls, I need money in the gas tank, I gotta buy Burger King for my date, those types of things. And it's like, I can't keep buying all of these titles every month anymore to keep in the stories. And I literally just remembered saying to myself, just forget it now, just forget it. And I did not come back to comics until 1992. And I think I left in 85, 4 is when I started. Yeah, well, when I started driving at 16. So yeah. So it's just technology. I mean, I think the one thing I just want to put a nail on is I can't stop thinking about somebody who has a 2-year-old right now and hands them their iPhone with Sora and teaches them how to start putting it in. Do a video, Chucky, do a video of a blue dog, and a happy purple giraffe. Go ahead. And then the kid starts learning, to prompt, and the next thing you know it, there's a whole nother cottage industry, which we're aged out of. And I'm happy to be aged out of.
Right. Well, I don't know how relatable
That's all I
it
can
is.
say about it.
I don't know how relatable it is to anybody that might be listening right now, that porting all your MySpace contacts to Facebook is the same as Marvel kind of abusing and exploiting their best-selling characters into multiple titles and multiple crossovers. I see where you're getting, like, it's like, hey, how can we make more and more and more money off these same people,
And lock
right?
you in on something.
Right.
Yeah,
Instead of going out for new audiences. Like, that was the good thing about, the movies, the Marvel movies, as far as Disney and Marvel, is that, it got them new audiences, and then they're able to sell some product. But yeah,
Well, that was genius. I mean, that was dumb luck, genius, because I remember all my coworkers at Trader Joe's who had 6, 7-year-old children, boy or girl, and having come back and had seen with their kids Spider-Man or Marvel. I mean, they just wouldn't shut up about it. And then I would finally chime in and I'd be like, "Oh, when did you start picking up Spider-Man? What do you mean?" Well, you reading the stuff right now, or did you read it in like the 70s or 80s? Oh, I've never read a comic book.
Right.
I was like, oh. And so after like the 8th type of conversation I had with these people who were the same age as me, who had 6 and 7-year-olds that they were taking to these movies, and were completely over the moon about it. Never read a comic book. One guy had gotten into comics because of the Spider-Man movies and was only a Spider-Man collector. So
Yeah. Right. Well, that's the genius of what Marvel did, and and made so much money that they've been trying to ring that bell ever since. I think Iron Man started to really change what a superhero movie could be, and then the Avengers. By the time you get to Endgame, I think that was the peak, and then we're going downhill ever since. But they're trying to recreate lightning in a bottle all the time
yeah,
now.
because
But
those 7-year-olds now are 27-year-olds. They got their own shit. They got their own debt. They got their own, trying to make it in the corporate world. They've got all their own identifiers, that these movies should be satiating them. You know what I mean? Giving them some sort of escape, in the whole horror of being alive nowadays. Huh?
yeah, I mean, and yeah, AI is, and don't think that AI isn't going to be used by these movie studios too.
Oh, they
It
are.
already is. But yeah, the products, the products might change, but the thing that's indispensable is the IP. So it doesn't matter, how good a tool like Sora is. We're talking about Sora today. Is you still need to feed it that original character design. Otherwise, you're just relying on generic stock characters. That the app generates. All right, so Raz555 is in the chat now. Morning, cartoonists. Non-artists using AI is slop. Human art is utterly different than an attempt by the machine because it is constant synaptic load of the stress and psychology of the unconscious pouring across the paper and canvas. Profound words. With respect, I am not stuck in analog. I am a living human being attaining strength through action. Rather than facilitating my convenience by burping out an order and watching a corporate mechanism fart out a shortcut result.
I love that.
Subscription life is surrender to slavery. I am Spartacus. Watch me draw.
It's awesome.
I bought every issue of Wolfman and Perez's Titans. So good. Wolfman was what was
Woo!
Wolfman? What I know Werewolf by Night. What is Raz talking about with Wolfman? Was that a character? Wolfman. Brilliant human lettering happening on that paper. Yeah, I don't know. I can't see it so good from up here, but I can't wait to see it when it's done. Martin Richard
Marv
Luther.
Wolfman.
Martin
Marv Wolfman. Marv Wolfman was the writer of Teen Titans.
Oh, okay, because
Yeah.
it was a space and it was lowercase, so I was like, Wolfman, who's this great cool character?
Marv.
Yeah, so Mark Richard Luther, cartoonist writer, writes, "Good morning, Kurt and Jake. Happy Sunday. Hi, Mark." And yeah, Marvel, but right. So they just made the correction. Okay, caught up on the comments, but yeah, we were just talking a little bit about Sora. I did want to talk to you today about those posters because I might be seeking a little bit of advice, but we'll get to that towards the end. Kurt, I'm making a kind of a tally here of the pages for Do Magazine that we're counting on so that we can plan how many zine pages we're doing here. Um, we also we figure we'll have a full page ad for Crom and a full page ad for my I guess Pearl White Malady or my poster book, but 2 pages of ads. All right, so if Turbo is 6 pages, that's the 6 new pages plus the Ken Landgraf pin. We have Alex. We'll allocate 11, but that might shrink for now. He has until October 31st to turn in however many there is, but 11 pages is the script. The Ken Landgraf is 6, but obviously we want to do a lead-in page, at least one page lead-in with Prose setting up the story of Charvel and how she gets into the airport.
Yes. Well, for
Um,
yeah, that's 3 right there. Because you're
right.
gonna
Well,
do
right. So with the Duke, it'll be 11 plus 1. With Ken Landgraf, it'll be 6 plus 1. Cromita, I don't know. The
well, no, you
Cromita
still
is
got the next 6 pages of Turbo. So you got to think somebody might be getting Doom Magazine's #1, and that's the first thing they get of Jake and Kurt's Turbo Pit Fighter. So they don't have pages 1 through 12. You know what I mean?
right.
They've now have 13 through 18, and now that one pager can be hot spotting, a couple panel lifts, maybe 1 or 2 panel lifts from the first 12 pages, and then go from there. You know what'd be interesting? I'm sorry,
Like
I gotta.
You mean like
What about this?
Right?
Yeah. What if page 1 was put in there again, and then another page explaining the universe, and
Well,
then you turn and it's page 13, and that's what would be said here. Now join us at page 13 of the teaser portion of Doom Mags.
maybe you take that page 1, you shrink it down, add some text or something. I mean, whatever it is, we definitely need an explainer page for what Turbo Pit Fighter is, right? So
Yep.
I'll put 1, and that could be clips from the first 2 teasers or whatever's necessary to put it in context so that they can start reading the next 6 pages, right? Right. Okay, so let's add this all up. So if we have 18, 19, 26, 30, we're already at 31 pages.
Yeah, but we're curious. We're curious on how many pages of Alex's story we'll get. We're planning on 6. I mean, he's I think at 5 right now. He said he had laid out a whole bunch of others. So things are moving over there. But we might even want to make the first 6 page like a first half kind of thing. Like here's part 1 of the Duke story.
Right. So I mean, we have to. Well, here we're budgeting at least 1 page for the Duke explainer. So this is what I should be working on this week and next week is
Okay.
the Duke lead-in page, and then the casualties lead-in page. Right, and we introduced the casualties in Cromita 2-pager, so that should precede this. So maybe in between the Cromita 2-pager and the Ken Landgraf 6-pager, we have this 1-page. So we need a Charvel page, and it's talking in her voice. We have the text already written. We just need to import it so that I can put it in here and substitute all this stuff, all this good stuff.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
You got some comments, Kurt. I gotta run upstairs to the John for a second. Can you read the comments and I'll be right back?
Have a good time.
Okay.
Be safe. Read the comments. Ed Piscor would love to. Oh man, Raz, thank you so much for saying that. I think so too. We definitely sent the first 6 pages as teasers to both Ed and Jim. And Jim got back to me, email, I have to add, praising our work and looking forward to seeing more. So super excited about, getting more pages, definitely in front of Jim. Jim, I missed the opportunity at IC3. He was holding court Saturday night. With a bunch of my friends and colleagues that he was catching up with and stuff, and I wanted to go up and just be like, hey, can I get like 5 minutes of your time, Jim? Just wanted to hand you this Turbo teaser #2 and just be able to hear his elegant way of breaking down a comic. Between him and Ed, they just had a magical match between the two of them in what they both optimally liked. But I think more importantly, the how the comic was built, the structure of it. I always loved the way they would break down a comic book. Praising somebody's work is always good to hear for the first 45 seconds to a minute. But I want to start hearing but did you ever think about not doing this or doing this maybe? And you're like, oh shit, I didn't think of that. So always looking forward to getting somebody's take on my work, and especially what Jake and I are working on with Turbo. But it doesn't only have to be somebody like Jim Rugg. You know what I mean? That's one of the reasons we do the Indie Creator Exchange, is to get exactly that similar type of at least, wow, did you ever think of this? I love that type of feedback, going forward. I was just making a remark, Jake, that Raz said Ed Piskor would have loved Turbo Pit Fighter. And both Ed and Jim did get copies of the first teaser we put out 2-something years ago. So, that was pretty cool, and how, we got to keep Mr. Rugg up to date. So,
Yeah.
but welcome back.
Yeah, I think we were waiting until we.
By the way, we do have to jump out in less than 15 minutes, because we have a Indie Creator Exchange interview with Steve Arena, Zombie Date Night. I got to see him at SBX, so really excited to sit down with Steve and talk comics.
Okay. So here's something that I wanted to put out there. And I'm gonna try to share screen so that I can scroll through something. Hopefully this works. Last time I tried to share screen, there was too much going on for my poor little Mac, but we're gonna try.
Yeah, you're teetering that line. Go ahead. It's okay. I'll still be here, hopefully.
Okay. Can you see the screen?
I can see your screen. I don't see something's coming up. There we go. We have something. Yep, I got the posters. We're seeing the posters.
All right. And is it centered and everything? Well, I'm trying to center.
It's in a it's not going to come up as a full up and down. It's in letterbox. But we're seeing it right now. Yeah, dude, it's hot. Yeah.
Oh, you're seeing it. Okay, great. So here's so this is my latest poster I finished, and I go to the copy shop and I talk to the guy, and his name is Jeremy, real cool guy. He's making my copies. I'm supposed to pick them up today. And then I go hang them up at the club and everything. And we just, I have my band and we do these posters. Now, I've been doing this for a long time, and the poster guy is saying that I'm crazy and I should do something with this. And I'm just going to scroll down the posters so that I can show Kurt, because I might be soliciting some advice at this point. Let me make it a little smaller. But I think I need to put out a magazine or something, because look how many of these I have at this point. Every time my band did a show and we played with these other bands, we would make a poster, and I have this comic style art that I do for most of the posters, not all of them, but the ones I'm showing here, it's definitely this same kind of character designs and comic stuff, and I get a lot of ideas that we share between the poster art and the comic stuff. There's definitely demonic imagery and punk rocks. We got sci-fi, and I'm pretty sure I would have a good 30 pages of this, all in color, ready to go. So I should just put this out in something, right?
Yeah, and have copies.
I have all the
have copies at the when we do shows. I mean, we're definitely we already have IC3 on our radar. I mean, that's definitely for me as a have to. And I'd like to see us get another show this time of the year. SBX is really tough for you. Been watching a lot of things like on CXC, Comics Crossroad out in Ohio. But, Jake, you can't, in my opinion, you can't have enough material printed and offered at your table or online or promote as that. I mean, I think it's just par for the course. I just think this would be, I would love to have a copy, just right now. Because, once again, it's nice to see things digitally scrolling in front of you, but it has no equal to holding, the real deal in there. And, there's nothing stopping us, which is another thing we should, always keep in mind is mentioning the fact that we have, comics that we're working on. Like, you're working on Pearl White Malady. I am weeks away from completing the first Crom anthology. I've got the first 2024 Crom. I think we need to start putting in a little segment where we talk about the things we offer. Because, the other thing, too, is that somebody could stop by our channel and be like, yeah, big muscle women beating each other up, barbarian wearing, fur around his groin and carrying a sword. Yeah. Oh, shit. Look at those. A whole zine full of punk rock, garage band. Damn, that shit looks cool. Let me get a copy. Boom.
Right.
Right. I mean, we have to think more that way laterally than trying to form a, Marvel Comics. But even they had, My Little Pony comics and, so and so forth.
Right. Well, I think I got enough here. I'm trying to count them 11,
awesome.
12,
That's awesome.
13. And I'm pretty sure I have all the high res. 14. Yeah,
I would make one suggestion. Because I know I've seen in the past where you've done just your text run. So in other words, there's no imagery per se, but the way you, graffiti block, your text in just a run, that would make a really cool cover. I think that's also powerful, like zine, and people read the cover of a zine. Like, once again, Jib Rugg, I think it does it very masterfully. There's always this like anticipation of like better quality things inside. You know what I mean? Like, you kind of read the cover and then you open it up and you're like, oh shit, that's hot. Like, oh cool, yeah, let me get a copy of that. And I like that formula for zine, because you're talking zine.
You're saying just put graphics on the cover?
Just words.
Huh.
Just literally say like Jake Jacobs, Von Ghoul, Garage Band, flyer art, zine. That's it. Number one. That would be it. And you're in the way you make that shit flow with the words being graphic, in that kind of graffiti style.
Right.
And the coloring, people be like, there's a green Von Ghoul's Garage Band flyer name zine. Okay. And then when they do that, they're going to be like, oh shit, yeah. How much is this? $10? Cool. I'm getting it.
Okay.
That's the magic. And if I do a show, I would love to have them in my booth to be able to, put out there too. If I'm on a show without you, I definitely want to be selling some books, pay for my.
All right. Well, it should be easy. I think I only counted 22 pages though. So
that's a 24.
Yeah, so I just do a 24 pack, I guess.
So what with Mix'em, Jake? This is 12, and it's just 12 solid pages. Not 12, excuse me.
Oh,
well, it's 12 together, but like it's 4 pages. Yeah, it's 4 pages, and then of course the cover, front and back is, and then the interior. You see what I mean? Like it just flows as one thing. It's not cover inside art. Back cover inside art per se. It's just one flowing zine state of mind. And so if you're at 22, you just need 2 more pages.
Right.
You
Yeah,
can
it's
make the
funny.
cover and then throw something on the back that gives just a little bit of like history, and then QR code URL pointing for Jake Jacobs.
Right. I think you could do. I think you can do 28 also without changing the pricing structure. Right. 24,
I
28,
don't know.
32.
I don't
I'm
know.
pretty.
Maybe by a couple cents.
Yeah. Right. Exactly. So it's no big deal. Yeah. So maybe I'll aim for that. I mean, I have a lot more posters, but I don't think some of them are good enough. Like this one isn't on there. I don't know why this one isn't on there, but
Yeah,
this
what's
week
up with that? Why not?
I don't know. I guess I screwed up. I need to put it on there.
All right, you're getting
But
closer.
yeah, there's right. There's more. Like, but here, like this one, I wouldn't put this one in, or maybe if I did, I would just put these like four on a page because I do this like this one was much quicker. I don't think it deserves a whole page, right?
No, I would put it in the back.
Well, yeah, or maybe like 200 page or 400 page or something, right?
I don't know. I don't know why you would segregate it just because it's not flashy in colors. I mean, how long would it take you to spend an afternoon in coloring it?
Mm,
You know what I mean? Like,
well, that's the whole thing. I did it in a rush because the time was short, and so it was just like
sure,
a quicker version.
it's
But
fine.
yeah,
Yeah,
well,
let's definitely keep this on topic because between that and Pearl White Malady, you got a lot of work ahead of yourself here for putting
I
shit
just
together
got
by
the
not the
scanner.
next IX.
Yes, I just got the scanner. I just started doing my first scans. I got a heart attack as soon as we finished last week. I said, "All right, let me. I've had this thing for like 2 weeks now. Let me do my first scan." So I do my first scan, and I had a heart attack because it came out like shit. And I was like, "This isn't good quality. What is this? What is this all about?"
Calibration.
Right. Well, no. I then I realized I'm looking at all the settings because
Yeah.
it's all foreign and everything, and it was the difference between documents and photo mode.
Yep.
You
Yep.
can
Yep.
scan a
Yep.
document and then it's just looking for high res contrast, like like printed words. But if you put it on photo mode, now then you get a lot more. So I mean, I'm expecting a good scanner is going to be showing you the grain of the paper, for God's sake, right? And so it was a lot better once I changed it over to document mode. But I had already done my first scan in document mode, and it sucked. So if you get a good scanner, make sure you have it on photo mode.
So I just want to thank all of those that ended up coming by and hanging out with us live on YouTube. We always appreciate the input through the comments, and we have to get going because, as I mentioned earlier, we have a fantastic interview awaiting us with Steve Arena, which is his vampire date night next week. The amazing Ro Higashi, way overdue. Can't wait to sit down. And actually, this is going to be like, for me at least, manga speak. So, going to get some education out of that.
Yes.
Then we have Jeff Bertrand. It's going to be coming up October 26th. And we met through Chance Priest and just locked down the other half of the coats. So we've got November 2nd. He's got some books coming to you. I just sent out a teaser to him. So that is going to be an awesome, connection. Still waiting on getting Corinne Halbert, but she has definitely a very spooky, tight
Yes, I
month
read that.
in October. So gonna leave her to be, and we'll try to catch her in November or December. But yeah, we're gonna try one more person, but then we're gonna call it the year. So Jake and I can just kind of focus in on clearing the year out with Doom Mag's #1. I actually always take the month of December off in a sense. In other words, I don't really have a lot of things scheduled. I kind of decompress and then give myself preparation for the next year. I literally plan my whole next year of 2026 to the best that I can by dates that are out there for me. But other than that, Jake, let these people get back to reading comics, making them if they choose.
That's right. Check out our other channels. You just watched Making Turbo Pit Fighter live every Sunday at 10 a.m. Eastern. But you could also tune into the Comics That Influence. That's where we do flip throughs. We have more than 50 episodes online as we speak. Feel free to go binge them. And then, as Kurt was referring to, we have our Indie Creator Exchange, which we are just about to go tape. So those are our 3 offerings on our YouTube landing page right here at youtube.com/@turbo_pit-fighter_comic.com. I don't know why we did that, but hello. And we'll see you right here next Sunday. What do you say?
See you next Sunday, Jake.
All right, peace.